All right, here we are. Yet another edition of our Rotary Unplugged. This one might be one of my favorites. I say that before we even talk, but I like you, Rick Armbruster. You do good things for our community, so we'll talk about that. Plus, you're a Rotarian. Hi to you, Rick.
Hi, thanks for having me. That's a lot of pressure, I guess, for
Well,
this morning.
sometimes you have to, move into the mental pressure zone to hit a home run, and we know you do that. Rick, how did you come to discover Rotary?
Oh, that's a good question. So probably about 8 or 9 years ago, I knew Jim Wright's wife through a board that we served on together. And somehow, I can't remember now, she connected me to Jim and he invited me to a Rotary meeting. Like I said, that was 8 or 9 years ago, and I wasn't ready. It wasn't my time, but I never forgot that. And about 3 years ago, I decided it was time and I needed to get more engaged and more active in the community. And so I reached out to Rotary and to try to figure out the process of how I could get involved. And so I did. I came to some lunches, went to Club 77, and eventually got to be a part of the group. And so it's been a great 3 years or almost 3 years.
Right.
So, but yes, it was the process was long and it went back a while and it involved Jim. So he's a great advocate for Rotary, both locally and globally, right? So,
You bet. What, Rick, surprises you about Rotary?
um, I suppose going into it, I thought that it was mostly sort of a networking group. And it is, right? But it is so much more than that. I mean, it is such a great community organization, and I would say pretty good cross section of representatives from across the community and everybody. But the common denominator is everybody is so committed to supporting the Grand Rapids area and playing their part and through volunteerism. It's incredible that passion of everybody that comes through from whatever their career path is, and so that's been really fun and enlightening to me, is to see that it is so much more than just a networking event. People aren't there to hand out business cards, right? They're there to make genuine connections and to provide genuine and deep support to the community. And I think that's what really, for me, makes Rotary very unique.
Hmm. What's your favorite activity so far?
Ooh, so I would say, like, early on, it was very strongly suggested, that we get involved in a committee. And that's the greatest way to really truly get engaged in Rotary, which I completely agree. And so I got involved in the Interact committee. I love working with high school students. In fact, in a former life, I was a high school math teacher. And so I just love working with the high school students, and it's been really fun. So now for like 2 years, 2 seasons, I've worked with the Interact students, and that's just been a wonderful experience because it's a great learning opportunity for them. We've deepened the set of learning opportunities over the past year. But to see these, young adults almost, really engaging in the community, taking a bigger picture about what their community is and about the opportunities that are afforded to them in the future. It's really rewarding and it's really refreshing. Um, it's been fun to see them evolve and to grow and to engage, and as a result, it's helped me grow and evolve as well. So that's not one activity, I guess, but it's sort of the experience that's been most meaningful to me, through my Rotary experience thus far.
Great. You mentioned Club 77. How would you describe this? And has there been one that you'd like to redo?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I think Club 77 is a awesome opportunity. It gets us, away from the formal lunch structure, right, and the speakers, and it just allows us to socialize and get to know each other. And so I think Club 77 has been great for me, especially as a newer person, right, to meet different people there. So that's been good. I don't know, like in terms of a redo or what's been my favorite. I was thinking about that. I guess the one maybe that stands out to me the most was the first one I went to. It was at Disability Advocates, and that's where Dave had his haircut, um,
Oh,
right? And so that was kind of fun for me, and it really showed to me how social and committed everybody was to the club. I maybe did worry for a moment about like some sort of hazing exercise, right, with the hair cutting. But no, it was refreshing, and I'm like, yeah, this is so much more than just a professional networking organization. I mean, everybody here wants to be here, and there's a real commitment to the club and to the individuals and to the community, and that just felt right to me. So that Club 77 definitely had an impact.
great. All right. I'm going to see how you've impacted us as Rick Armbruster. You love doing anything outside. Tell me more.
I do. Being outside is kind of my happy place. And I have kind of diverse interests. I'm that person that I get bored if I do the same thing over and over again. So I I love skiing, and I love running, and I love hiking, and I love being on the water. Like you name it. I want to be outside during all four seasons. I would say, probably my activities have evolved as I've gotten older. I've always been a skier, right, since I was 4 years old, and that kind of got me into things. But my skiing has maybe changed a little bit or tapered off a little bit as I've gotten older and my kids are out of the house. I certainly don't run as much or as far as I used to, but I love going for a bike ride or paddling my kayak or just going for a hike with the dog. It's a lot of fun. It just gives me energy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Uh, it's a family show. You believe a lot of success in life is due to what?
Well, getting stuff done. Yeah, I might use a different word than stuff, but it is a family show. But yes, I mean, I think half the battle is, and this is something I learned, right, as I've gotten older. I've always been a perfectionist, I suppose, in my life, and so on. But you just need to get stuff done, and that's my mindset now. Is whatever I'm doing in the community or my role in building upcycle bikes. It's just half the battle is you just got to get stuff done. Make a plan and execute on that plan. And at least for me and for what I'm doing right now, it doesn't need to be A plus work all the time. It doesn't need to be perfect. You know, B plus work, the 80-20 rule, whatever you want to call it, just getting stuff done, I think is so important. And I really appreciate others that are proactive and take the initiative and have that same mindset.
Yes. Expand on your work with Upcycle, and I know this is not your first career choice. As you
Yeah, well, I mean, I would maybe say that a little bit differently. I mean, first of all, I don't know that I've really necessarily had a career in my life, but at this point in time, I mean, doing upcycle bikes, that is sort of my passion and what I love doing. So let's see, I've been everything. I was a management consultant coming out of college. I went to business school. I worked in like business development and marketing for some startup organizations. We started to follow my then wife's career, and I became a high school math teacher for a few years, which I loved. I'm really passionate about education. But then I was a stay-at-home parent because it made sense for my family, and so that was wonderful. But volunteerism has always been sort of a part of my life. I've done all kinds of things over the years, especially around education. But coming out of COVID, I wanted to do something different, and I like to tinker. And I knew a little bit about bikes, enough to be dangerous, and when there was an opportunity to volunteer my services with Bethany Christian Services to support their refugee relocation program, I sort of jumped at that. And as I was refurbishing bikes on their behalf to provide that affordable transportation, my wheels were spinning, and my business brain kicked in and realized that there's a bigger opportunity here, and maybe we can create a separate organization that can scale up and really support Greater Grand Rapids. And that's how Upcycle Bikes was born. So it's been very rewarding, and I love it. I love it right now, and so this is sort of my career of choice, I guess, right now, if you want to call it that. But it's been very meaningful to me, and Rotary has been a big part of it. It's not a coincidence that I joined Rotary at the time that Upcycle Bikes was getting started, and so many connections and friendships that I've developed through Rotary have helped with the growth of Upcycle Bikes. We wouldn't have our space, we wouldn't have our shop without a connection that I made through Rotary. So it's been very meaningful. Yeah.
Inspiring. Now tell me the story of Mount Hood and
Hmm.
what happened with your backpack?
Yeah. So I told you I love doing things in the outdoors, and certainly when I was younger, I maybe didn't think through some of those activities completely. But before I went to business school on the East Coast, I was living out in the San Francisco area, and I really wanted to visit Oregon. So I took a week to go up to Oregon by myself, without many plans, just with my camping gear and hiking stuff in the back of the truck. And I had this bright idea of hiking around the peak of Mount Hood. There was a trail there that I think was about 39 miles or something like that. I'm like, yeah, I can do that. And I sort of assessed what gear I had, and it wasn't ideal, but I figured I'd give it a go. Didn't really plan that in June, the peak at Mount Hood is completely covered in snow still at that point. So anyway, I got going on this hike, and several things went wrong along the way on the first day, including my backpack falling in a mountain stream or river. It was more than a stream, but I don't know. It was probably about 10, 8, 9, 10 miles in or something like that, and I lost the trail in the snow, and I took my backpack off because it was killing me because it wasn't the right one. And I accidentally stepped on my cinch strap, and my backpack fell off and started rolling down a little incline, and then it went over a cliff. So it was gone. And my backpack and my clothes and everything were wet from falling in the stream. So I made the decision. Well, I had to make a decision. Do I keep going and try to figure out where I am, or do I turn around? And so I opted to turn around. And so it was a very long, late day. Um, but that was one of those, stupid things that you do when you're in your 20s and don't really fully think through.
So someone listening to this,
Here.
watching this is going to be, has been saved from his or her experience from yours. It's all good. Where do and I'm glad you're safe. Where do you see yourself? Where do you see Rotary, say, in 10 years?
I was thinking about that one. I don't know. I definitely want to continue to be involved. I love working with the Interact students, so I'd love to do that. In fact, one of the Interact students that I got to know really well this year is interning with Upcycle Bikes this summer. So that's pretty cool. So I would love to stay involved with that. I would love to help sort of, beef that program up a little bit, I suppose. But from there, I'm not sure. Just continue to get to know more people through Rotary, get more engaged, more involved, and see where it goes. I don't know that I have any defined goals or aspirations other than to continue to be involved with it.
Well, we know you're going to get stuff done. Rick
Yeah.
Armbruster, keep on doing what you do so well. Thank you for this conversation on our Rotary Unplugged.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is fun. I love the opportunity to stay engaged with Rotary. It's a wonderful experience.
Yes, look who popped in, our executive producer.
Here I am. Thanks for showing up today. Appreciate your time. So just remember, you can find this podcast at our website, grrotary.org/unplug. Or if you type it in your Apple Podcast app, just look for the same words, Grand Rapids Rotary Unplugged. You'll find it there as well. So have an awesome day.
Great. Thank you.